Have you ever thought about the fact that there are some habits we all have that it almost seems like it's impossible to break? I never forget realizing that I was addicted to sugar, and I one day said I was going to stop eating sugar and thinking about how could I actually break this habit that was ingrained in me from a child. And have you ever been in a situation where you really wanted to let something go? You really wanted to stop doing something, and it just seems like you cannot stop. I don't remember, how I was able to muster up the energy and courage just to go cold turkey, take everything out the pantry. I had a whole candy drawer. I threw all the candy out. I just got a big, garbage bag and threw everything in. I had a whole funeral for all of these things that I used to eat. And I found out so many things that had this processed sugar in it that I didn't realize, right? And I was literally in bed just shaking, right? Because I couldn't believe that my body was responding this way, where it wanted this, right? Because this wasn't just a habit in my mind, it was even in my body, even in my chemical makeup. And so when you think about habits, breaking habits is very, very difficult, right? And so today we're going to talk about, right, that reason why you and I can't change unless we do this one thing, unless we understand this one thing, right? And how do we begin to break those habits that just seem to be unbreakable, seem like it's impossible to actually fix? Well, this is, again, one of the key things we have to understand about how we are wired and how we are made. When we understand we must be the leaders of the actual destiny of our own self, the destiny of our own, future, the destiny over who we're trying to become. We realize that that is up to us and it's something that we must do. Then we start looking for answers. What am I going to do? Am I going to keep living life and let life just happen to me? Or am I going to start doing something that actually generates a result in my life that allows me to actually get results? Now, let's talk about what actually is going on. This is why we have issues, right? So let's go to the whiteboard here for a minute. I want to explain something to you. So normally what we have, and this is often called the habit loop, is we have some sort of trigger, right? And, for me, this could have been a donut. This could have been some candy. This could have been some biscuits and syrup, whatever that trigger was, right? The smell of that stuff that you really like, right? And this could be anything, all right? You can have an issue with smoking, with drinking, with, any particular habit, something that you just really want to get away from, gambling, whatever those things are. That trigger, right? It begins to lead to a specific behavior, right? And that behavior begins to become a routine. And then we get another trigger and it just continues, right? We often call this the habit loop, right? And so everything really begins, right, with the actual trigger. So we have to understand that the trigger is such a critical part in this process, right? Because the trigger is what leads me to take the action or to do the thing, right? So, a lot of times when we consider certain habits, we just think that, oh my God, I want to, eat that again, or I want to go do that again. And we don't realize that there still is certain things that is triggering that response. So if you don't understand triggers and you focus, so quickly on the behavior, right? I want to stop doing the behavior, but I don't understand that there's something triggering the behavior, right? So this is a very, very key thing. Now, this means that we want to know, how do we actually attack the trigger? How do we attack the trigger so that we can stop the behavior? So this is, again, the issue. Now, let's go a little bit deeper into this, and let's look at the kind of the process of how we do anything, right? We think, and then we feel emotion, right? And then we act on that emotion. Now, this is true for all of us, right? This three-step process is just human behavior. And so there is nothing that we do that doesn't start with the thought. Now, we have some things we do subconsciously, right? But there's almost, when it comes to habits and it comes to different things, we don't realize that there's certain thoughts that could even become habit, right? Certain triggers automatically create certain thoughts, which cause you to feel a certain way, which causes you to act. So this can happen so much so that it almost feels subconscious. It almost feels like something that you have no control over, right? Because you don't see the pattern. You're not conscious of the pattern. So a lot of times we just, wake up in the process when we start to feel certain things, right? But literally, if I was, changing all my eating habits, trying to eat more clean and so forth, when I saw someone maybe eating something that I used to eat, when I saw that, let's say it was some candy, I got a thought from that. That thought began to give me the way the brain is wired. Once I thought the thought because I saw it. What is it that gives me thoughts? The things I see, the things I hear, right? And even my memories, right? So when I began to get that, then it led to a feeling, and my whole body wakes up to what I'm thinking about. And if I like that thing, why do I start to salivate? Why do I start to, think about what it would be like to have that thing, right? All of that starts to wake up in the human body, and it's working, right, to, get you to take action. So this is really the intensifier. So this is the thing that is intensifying the entire process. It is right in the middle, and it is doing the most things to intensify, because what we feel is what becomes real. And say that again. What we feel is what becomes real. So we have to really begin to be conscious that the feelings that we feel is not really the real you. Now, I don't want to get into all the spiritual dimensions of this, but want to understand that we are tripart creatures. We're made up of spirit, soul, and body. The body is what the soul is inside of. And so when you understand that, you wonder, you say, well, when you say I feel, well, who's I, right? And you say, I'm thinking, I decided to do, well, who's I in that whole thing, right? So there's something that is making decisions within us, right? And we refer to this a lot of times as the soul. And so when you think about that, the human body, even though it can give all these feelings, right? Why is it that I can be working out and I could be doing those reps and I could be on the 6th rep and I want to get to 10 and my whole body is saying, no, don't do it. You can't do it. It's too much. And what is it that can say, no, I'm going to do it anyway, right? And you say 8, 9, 10, right? What is it that allows you to do that? That's because there's a decision maker. This is why we talk about you are a CEO. What we're really saying is that you are a soul. You are the one that makes the decision in your life. And what's very important, what type of decisions do you make? And what is the control you're going to use? Are you going to be controlled by the feelings that come from the body, or are you going to be able to make decisions despite how you feel? Now, many people are able to do this at different levels. So some levels to, do things where athleticism is concerned, some things for great goals that people have in life, and some for even greater goals that are spiritual that can yield even what I feel is the ultimate benefits in life. But either way, this is the battle. Now, when you think about this, I want you to consider, think, feel, act. Well, one of the critical things that's missing here that I want you to understand, right, is at the foundation of all of this, right, is environment. And this is really the secret. So environment really drives what we think. It also impacts how we feel. And it also influences the actions we take. You ever seen people who did things because they were among a group of people, or peer pressure, the environment caused them to take action, right? Have you ever started to think different because you got in a certain environment? Like, I've been in environments where there was a high level of success and knowledge and wisdom in the room, and you start to feel a certain way. If you've been in an environment that was a little scary and, where there were people and you didn't feel safe, you start getting different thoughts like, how am I going to get out of here and things like that sort, right? You start thinking different when you're in different environments. So the power of environment is it is more powerful than all of these because it has the ability to shape and mold how all of these things work. And this is where people make the mistake. They don't understand that they keep trying to focus on changing, right, the action. Like, I don't want to do that thing. I don't want to, keep that habit. But they don't realize they're not focusing on the main thing, which is the environment. So if I say I want to stop eating a certain way, but I keep going into an environment that has all those things in the house, I am much more prone to think about that thing again, feel it again, and act on it again. If I take those things out of the house and make it harder for me to do that thing because the environment changes, if I put people around me and I start getting around people who are trying to meet the same standard that I'm trying to meet, if I'm having an issue with smoking, start getting around people who don't want to, still have that type of habit in their life, it's going to be a lot easier for me to do that. People who want to eat better and I'm trying to eat better. People that are trying to get really serious about breaking the habit of laziness and trying to take more effort in their health. If I get around people that are doing that, I'm going to be able to be more successful at doing that. And so this is why environment is key. People struggle to be on time because they're trying to be on time instead of creating an environment to be on time, like putting their clothes out the night before, trying to lay things out and think about the things that might take time away from them. People struggle to actually eat better because they're trying to do it versus setting up an environment to eat better. What is the schedule for their eating? Where are they getting their food from? Have they really sat down and thought about how they're going to change an environment all around them? Where are they snacking at? Replace those snacks with better snacks. Thinking about things you can do in your environment that actually shape a way for you to live that way. So in essence, in summary, the environment is so powerful, it is able to actually come up here, right, and help us to actually reverse this process. Check this out. We can actually reverse the process where now, because the environment is so strong, we start taking actions even though we don't want to. And those actions begin to change how we feel after we keep doing it, right? It's like the person who doesn't want to work out, but they just start doing it. They don't want to change how to eat, but they just start doing it, right? And then you start feeling different. Next thing you know, you're getting different thoughts. And next thing you know, you start feeling bad for not doing the thing that you thought you could never do. And when I get in my routines and I'm working out like I should, I'm eating like I should, I start thinking about how I need to do those things. I feel bad if I don't do it versus feeling bad to do it because there's been a shift and a change because I realize with the environment, I can reverse the process and get unwavering results. And so I hope you got a lot out of this. This is how we begin to break habits. Focus on your environment. Focus on taking action to change how you feel, to change how you think until it becomes who you are and what you do. As you know at URCO, we are always taking charge. We're always expanding and we're always overcoming. So make sure you keep fighting to be the CEO of your life. Until next time, keep running the business of you.